Hi there, it's Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is the card that we are going to be creating, and it is using this die here from Aliexpress. I have cut this die out 5 times in a really thick, super cheap cardstock. Now, it does not matter because you will not be seeing this really. It's just to create really thick layers. I want to create a sort of mini shaker portion of the card, which is going to be just the roses themselves. So in order to make it shaker, I need to have some depth somewhere to fill, and I could do that using foam, but foam with these roses is too fiddly, so I chose to use cardstock to build up the layers. I don't often do it this way because I kind of feel like it's a waste of cardstock, but in this case, when it's so fiddly, yeah, it felt like a good option. I have cut out the exact same die in a green cardstock and the roses part in a yellow cardstock. And now just to give the green cardstock some more depth, I'm going over it with some Distress Oxides, not even much ink. I don't even get out the actual ink container. I am just using what was left on my blending sponge from last time. And then I'm going to do the same with the orange or the yellow cardstock and add kind of a little bit of orange just to the roses. This one is going to be cut out, so I'm just going to be using the roses portion of it, not the rest of it. So that doesn't matter so much. Then I decide that I'm going to put my own bow on this, so I'm going to cut off the bow that comes die cut with it, and of course I need to do the same thing to the green one. So far it's pretty basic, but things get a bit more fun here. I am using, this is just a spare rose that I cut out, the 2 roses, and I am putting some removable adhesive on the back of the rose and adhering them very temporarily down to a piece of acetate. And I am going to cut right on the edge of the rose for this piece of acetate because this needs to be the backer that will keep in all of my shaker parts that I put in my roses. So yes, this card does end up being a little bit fiddly, but I think it's worth it in the end. But yeah, it does take a little minute or two to do all these final touches. Um, so as I said, the rose on the front is not going to be used. It's a scrap rose, and I'm just using it purely to get the shape for the acetate. So I'm just going to check that they line up perfectly and make sure that I've cut them out right. Then to the front of the rose, I am going to add a little bit of glue using a makeup sponge and some liquid glue. And I know it's really hard for you to see what I'm doing here, but yeah, you can just see that I'm adhering down that acetate perfectly on the front of the roses. Now the reason that I'm doing it on the front here is fine because I'm still going to add the green layer on top, and that will hide all of the edges of the acetate. So that's fine. You can see that I have a little bit of acetate that is going up into the leaves, and that will give it some good stability as well. And you can kind of see if I tilt it in the light that the acetate there is just covering the roses. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue, liquid glue, to the back of the green part. And again, I could have cut out the roses here, but it felt like it was just so much easier and so much less fiddly just to do the whole shape. So I mean, if you were getting super excited about it, you could probably cut out the roses, but I was just doing my best, really. These are some yellow gems from Alina's store, and I will link them down below in case you are interested. Now, I have cut out those yellow roses that I showed you earlier that I did a little bit of inking on, and then I also cut out from the same yellow cardstock a backing piece that is going to go on the back of the roses. And I cut that out in a similar way that I cut out the acetate. I just cut it off from the filming because I think you kind of get the gist of how I did that with the acetate, and it's pretty boring to watch. But anyway, same process. So at the moment, I'm just filling up the biggest spots in the rose petals with some of these gems. Now I'm putting them in one by one because I want to make sure that they're up the right way. There is not a whole lot of room in this shaker card because, as I said, I haven't used any foam. It's all just the cardstock is what creates the layers. So I'm just putting them in where I can, and then glitter is going to fill up the spaces and give it a little bit more because obviously the tiny wee spaces there I can't fit the gems in. The gems are only fitting in the biggest petals of the rose, so the glitter kind of fills in all those other bits that that, yeah, need a little bit of colour and shine. Then I'm just going to gently add a little bit of glue to the back of the roses and then add that yellow cardstock. You can see my pencil marks there where I went around them as well, but again, no one will see this part at all. And it does extend into the leaves a little bit more to give it a little bit more stability. So you can see it's starting to take shape here, but I still need to add on the yellow roses, which I'm going to do with a makeup sponge and some liquid glue. I am seriously thinking about trying some spray adhesive. What is your experience with spray adhesive? It feels like a good idea, but I'm just not sure if it's another thing that I need. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But anyway, I've adhered these on, and as I said, I could have cut out the green bits, but you can't even end up seeing them in the end, so it looks fine. And kind of giving you a close-up of all those little gems and the glitter, it does look really pretty. I definitely do like how this turned out. I am adding some double-sided tape, some really wide double-sided tape to a piece of fun foam. And this is, I'm adding it to both sides of the fun foam because this is just going to create a little bit of dimension on my card front when I attach it to my card base. So I'm adding it to both sides, and then I'm going to stick one side down to my card front, and this is about the time that I forget that I haven't got a sentiment stamped on the front of my card yet. So I'm going to use this stamp set here that says Happy Birthday, and I'm going to have it either side of the stems down the bottom there. I've transferred this over to my MISTI because I have the foam on the back of this already, so it's definitely not, it's not too bad because it was just a whole piece of white fun foam. I also get that from Aliexpress, which I will link down below. But anyway, it ended up stamping pretty good considering it wasn't just a flat panel. I'm now adhering that panel to the front of my card base, and then I have some random blue twine here. This is from a local shop that I had ages ago. I now buy pretty much all my twine from AliExpress, but yeah, this is just one that my daughter was playing with. So I have tied it in a bow, and then I'm going to quite simply add some glue onto the back of my big main element of my card, which is the roses, of course, and this almost completes it. It's just going to go perfectly in the middle there, and then I will add the bow with some liquid glue as well. You could also add a glue dot, that would be fine, but yeah, I was in no hurry, so it was fine. And the very last thing that I'm going to do to this card is to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to the leaves or all the greenery of this rose, and that will pretty much complete it. It gives the leaves a really nice shine and just that extra little bit kind of finishing touch to the card. And yeah, this card was slightly fiddly with the roses because they are really a fine outline to them, but in my opinion it was definitely worth it, and I really like how it turned out. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll give this a go. The links to Alina's store are down in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.